Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the Russia-Ukrainian war. Today, I wanted to look at an article out of the media, the print media, that I read this morning, and it is titled, "Kremlin Warns of Nuclear World War III that will be catastrophic." Russia bluntly warned Thursday that further meddling by Western powers in Ukraine would spark World War III. This time, a nuclear one that will be catastrophic for all mankind. A top Kremlin official specifically threatened worldwide carnage if the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, approves Ukraine's bid to join its alliance. Kiev is well aware that such a step would mean a guaranteed escalation to a World War III, the Deputy Secretary of Russia's Security Council told the state TASS news agency. The warning came a day after a senior NATO official said a Russian nuclear strike would almost certainly trigger a physical response from Ukraine's allies. And Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said the U.S. was committed to defending every inch of NATO territory. Meanwhile, in Europe, some politicians openly call for such actions. Even a number of politicians in the EU do not conceal and do not rule out the possibility of using weapons of mass destruction against Russia, he claimed, without evidence. He claimed that there are serious doubts about the adequacy of Zelensky, suggesting that the Ukrainian president is a puppet whose actions and words are dictated by others. Therefore, if the good of the West to realize that their protege can take on so much that Washington and Brussels will have to think about how to deal with the consequences. For some reason, many believe that nuclear war can be waged locally, he said. We must remember a nuclear conflict will affect absolutely the whole world, and not only Russia and the collective West, but in general, any country on this planet. Its consequences will be catastrophic for all mankind, he warned ominously, days after President Biden conceded fears of an impending Armageddon. Anyway, I think you kind of get the point. But as I have talked about before, we are continuing to head in a direction we probably don't want to go in, and just to set aside the nuclear consequences locally, I have to wonder what will happen to the economy here in the United States specifically, in Europe as well. A very, very possible economic collapse if we start to see the exchange of nuclear weapons. And again, we're getting closer to that, not moving away from it. Right now, these two sides, Ukraine, Russia, it's all-out war. And one side is going to lose, and the other side is not going to lose. And ultimately, it's a zero-sum game at this point. But we'll have to watch what happens, and obviously very, very concerning. You know, as I talked about before, Russia is not going anywhere. It will remain here long after this conflict takes place, and then what? And I don't believe at this point Russia is willing to acquiesce. It looks like they're heading towards all in. And that does not bode well for the coming weeks and months ahead, as this is, in all probability, again, as I talked about before, gravitating towards serious, serious escalation. That's all I have for today. Have a good day.